What does the fact that Boeing moved its 787 wide-body production out of Everett, Washington in 2021, coupled with the fact that Boeing just said goodbye earlier this month to the last ever 747 Queen of the Skies, plus the fact that Airbus is delivering its A320neos at a rate of about 30% faster than Boeing is delivering their MAX jets? Well, add all that up and what you have is Boeing now has a lot of unused real estate and thousands of workers sitting idle with nothing to do, while at the same time they need to find a way to catch up to Airbus. Well, believe it or not, Boeing has come up with quite a simple solution to address the above needs and more. And I'm going to tell you about it next on Maximus. Greetings everybody, Maximus here. Well, there she goes, up and away as the Queen of the Skies rides off into the sunset for the last time. While there are still hundreds of 747s flying passengers and freight all around the world daily, this was the last one to ever be produced, bringing an end to the production of the most beautiful, sexy, and most successful passenger aircraft ever built. Combine that with the relocation of the 787 Dreamliner, that leaves Boeing with a big hole in the heart of the company. Literally. Specifically at their Everett, Washington facility. So in an effort to try and catch up to Airbus's brisk A320 delivery rate, while also making use of existing floor space and employees, and avoiding layoffs and more misery for the general Washington area, Boeing announced this month that they will be setting up a fourth 737 MAX assembly line. But this new line won't be in Renton, where the original 3 MAX lines are established. No, the new MAX assembly line will move to the empty void left by the end of the 747 production and the 787's departure, making this Boeing's first expansion of work in Washington state since Boeing opened its advanced 777X composite wing facility in Everett in 2016. Boeing CEO of Boeing Commercial Airplanes, Stan Deal, cited the availability of highly skilled workers in factory space as factors in the decision. According to the Seattle Times, in an internal memo to Boeing employees, Deal said this announcement underscores our commitment to the state and our Washington workers. Deal said it's certainly a lifeline for Boeing's Everett workers who have seen job prospects steadily shrink. It's unclear if it will add many jobs, but it will surely preserve existing jobs. In a statement, Boeing said there may be incremental job gains. But in general, this additional line allows us to keep our current team even with the end of our 747 production. John Holden, district president of the International Association of Machinists Local 751, said, "Boeing's decision is good for our members. It's a positive thing." Holden said it's important that they maximize the use of the facility and the workforce there. The new assembly line will provide Boeing capacity to ramp up 737 MAX production to try and catch up to the production rate of the Airbus A320 jet family. Deal told employees that the new MAX line will start operation beginning in the second half of 2024. To be clear, we are not taking the 737 out of Renton, Deal said, just adding capacity to capture customer demand. He said most of our Renton 737 MAX teammates will remain in Renton as we renovate our third line and continue production of the other 2 lines there. A small group, along with some Everett teammates and some new hires, will help us open this 4th line that will be known as the North Line. The MAX workers in Everett will have their own managers on site who will report to the main MAX program office in Renton. Boeing recently announced that it will be hiring 10,000 people this year. A large portion of that hiring will likely be for gearing up for the 737 MAX production. Deal told employees the new MAX production line will be set up in what used to be the 787 assembly bay. But with the end of the 747 and the relocation of the 787, that leaves the largest building on Earth with only 2 wide-body lines remaining. The 767 and the 777, with the 767 only producing freighter and military tanker versions. So the news of high-rate MAX production opening up a 4th line is a significant economic boost to the city of Everett. According to Dominic Gates in the Seattle Times, In the assembly bay now earmarked for the MAX, where mechanics have been busily reworking the stored 787s to fix fuselage defects, that work will now move over to the empty 747 bay. Boeing is also doing 787 rework in a separate smaller building south of its jet delivery center on Payne Field in Everett. Ron Epstein, an industry analyst with Bank of America, said, "A major factor in the decision has to be Boeing's need to generate revenue out of the giant Everett plant given its overhead costs. They can't just leave it empty," he said. Ever since the Everett plant was built for the 747 in the late 1960s, it has only produced the bigger wide-body jets. Of course, Boeing will have to train mechanics who previously worked on the wide-body jets in Everett, preparing them to handle the intricacies of the much faster-paced work of the smaller planes. Holden of the Machinists Union said, Boeing shifted between 700 and 1,000 of his Everett-based members to Renton to help with the MAX ramp-up there, and will already be up to speed on MAX assembly work. Setting up the new MAX line will require careful planning. Boeing will have to replicate in Everett the tooling that's in place in Renton, including jigs to hold the fuselages while systems are installed, and equipment at each assembly station to join the wings and add the landing gear and complete the airframe. But this move could also be good news for Electro-Impact of Mukilteo, the engineering firm that designed and built much of the tooling in Renton. But Boeing must also adapt its supply chain to deliver parts to Everett as well as Renton. This undertaking is significant, Deal said. In addition to preparing the facility, we have begun the process of notifying and preparing our suppliers, customers, unions, and employees as we take the necessary steps to create the new line. Deal said we will have to redirect a portion of the completed 737 MAX fuselages to Everett that arrive in the Pacific Northwest by train from Spirit Aerosystems in Wichita, Kansas. A 2-mile railway spur climbs up a steep gulch from Mukilteo Dock to deliver parts to the Everett plant. Until now, that's only been used to deliver large parts such as 777 fuselage panels shipped across the ocean from suppliers in Japan. However, Boeing said no changes to the rail line will be needed to haul the completed MAX fuselages up that same hill. The MAX's wings are fabricated in Renton, but presumably those can be trucked to Everett. And even if at some point Boeing decided to make the wings in Everett too, there's certainly space to do that where the 747 wings were formerly made. Currently, the narrow-body MAX jet is built exclusively in Renton on 3 separate assembly lines. However, only 2 of which are currently operating as MAX production ramps up slowly. But because of post-pandemic supply chain issues, Boeing has been struggling to stabilize production at 31 jets per month, well short of the 52 jets per month production rate at the start of 2019, before the MAX was grounded after the 2 deadly crashes. But Boeing's loss has been Airbus's gain, because it has taken full advantage of the low MAX production rate, steadily raising the production of its rival A320 jet family. Last year, despite supply chain issues, Airbus averaged 43 deliveries of the A320 jet family per month. It is targeting a monthly rate of 65 aircraft in early 2024 and 75 in 2025. Boeing's 4th MAX line is a response to that acceleration competition and an attempt to claw back some narrow-body jet market share. Scott Hamilton, the founder of aerospace industry analysis firm Leham.net, said, Boeing is already down to about 39% of the market that it formerly split 50-50 with Airbus. Boeing must match Airbus rates to stem the erosion of market share, he said. Deal said the 4th line is designated to increase capacity, especially for later MAX models such as the high-density MAX 8200 model and the largest MAX model, the MAX 10. Well, in what has been a rocky few years of terrible decisions by Boeing, it seems they are finally back on track, making sound management decisions that might just bring Boeing back up to the standards the aviation world has been used to for the past century. We can only hope. Well, that's going to wrap it up for now. Now it's your turn to let me know down below. And as always, if you would like to help to support the channel, the links are in the description. And if of course, the best and always free way to support the channel is simply to subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell. And remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.